Welcome to Educate Us. I'm Jocelyn Barkenhagen. For many students at the Blodgett Success Academy, certain reading and writing concepts were once difficult to grasp, but those students are now thriving and passing along their knowledge to third graders at the Pleasant Valley Elementary through a cross-age tutoring program.
Reckless, exclamation mark. Want to choose another one?
Yeah. So basically cross-age tutoring is our students acting as tutors or mentors to a younger group. So last year we did it with second graders, this year we're doing it with third graders. And it's really just pairing them up with buddies, partners, and having them read to them, having the third graders read to our kids. Having them engage in discussions about books, about different reading strategies, and this year we've opened it up to math also. So as we go forward, they're going to be creating actual lessons that they're going to be taking over to the kids and presenting to them.
First, I got introduced to my buddy. Her name was Rain. She's a really nice girl. And then we just read like 3 different books. I read her poetry, and then I read her hot air balloons. She had trouble by saying the word "were," so I told her to like put her finger near between the R and the E and cut that off, and she knows what "we" is. So I was like, say the word "we," and then she'll say "we," and then I was like, and then cut the "we" off and say sound the other words out, and then she'll put it together and say "were." So she did pretty good on that.
You know, for our kids who may have missed stuff as they were going through the years, who have been kind of disengaged from school for various reasons and maybe didn't pay attention fully, it's almost reteaching them stuff.
The Success Academy students meet with their buddies twice a month throughout the school year. Mrs. Schneller says that being part of the mentoring program emphasizes the importance of education.
I'm nice. I'm good in school most of the time. I get high grades, so I'll be able to give him tips on stuff that's going to happen later in life and make him advance faster than the other students. I helped him with reading and understanding what he can do, and I helped him learn the steps to understanding words that he doesn't know, and I helped him learn how to write neater, so when he does it, he won't write as fast. He'll write slower, take his time.
You know, they showed enthusiasm. The whole way back they're talking about my buddy did this and my buddy did that, and my buddy's a really good reader, and they were sounding out the words, and I heard a bunch of them too say, well, and my buddy pointed out that I made a mistake and that, and I spelled a word wrong, so it just gets them to pay attention to those little things, whereas, before it might not have mattered so much.
Yeah, because I'm not a perfect reader. I take stuff from them, they take from me, give each other feedback and stuff. Because when I was younger, I used to love when people told me, oh, you're such a good reader, oh, keep trying, keep doing it, and made me want to do it. If you give negative feedback, it's not really encouraging them to actually try to do it. She would take turns reading. She would want me to read one paragraph, and then we would take turns. And we were just talking about her and how she makes snowmen and stuff. We were just talking about different ideas and stuff like that we do in the winter.
The goal is that they'll continue to go back throughout the year, and they'll have the same buddy. They're writing letters back and forth to each other, so there's that correspondence going on. And I was very proud of them today. They did. I had the other teachers coming up to us saying, this person's asking these great questions, and they're talking to the kids about the book, and it's all on their own. They weren't told to do that. They're really into it.
Schenectady High has an abundance of highly skilled educators. In fact, SHS has more National Board certified teachers than any other district outside of New York City. Mrs. Corina Hagen is currently going through the rigorous process of becoming a National Board certified teacher. She is the focus of this quarter's Best Practices segment.
This particular lesson, I was looking for encouraging students to rely on the author's use of whatever's on the page. We talk a lot about details, pulling stuff from text and using it to support how you feel about something. So if you form an opinion, you need to have details that support it. And sometimes students miss important little pieces of information. They can locate really big ideas, but when it comes down to more specific stuff, they read too quickly or they glance over it and they don't pay attention to the little nitpicky stuff. Each student received a sealed envelope, kind of adding to the mystery of the assignment, and they were instructed not to open them until I told them to do so. And I told them that the passage we were going to read out loud had no sentence had more than 2 words in it, and the most difficult word was unfaithful. So I kind of prepared them. So now their curiosity is piqued. They know, okay, this isn't going to be that hard until they open the envelope and take a look that, all right, there's a challenge here on the paper. So students opened the envelope and they were excited to read it out loud because they knew they could do it. So one student read it out loud, and then within their groups, I had them read it a second and a third time out loud.
Please don't beg. Forgive me. Too late. Good God. Goodbye.
I gave each group the worksheet and 6 envelopes, and within each envelope there were 6 questions. And after they read it out loud a couple of times within their group, as a group, they answered each question one by one, and each one required textual evidence to support what they thought. And it was everything from identifying how many speakers there were, to identifying the tone of the speakers, which is based on punctuation, to identifying breaks in the conversation, and that is a picture on the paper. The goal was to get them to pull out textual evidence, support their opinion and their thought about the question, and then to get them thinking about graphic novels, because we moved into Persepolis where the author is choosing to put images within a frame for a reason.
If you look at the second box, do you notice something in the picture?
They look the same.
Physically, their clothing looks the same, but there is something that's different. Their faces. So their faces, the expression on their faces can tell you just as much as the words that are in the box.
I don't want them to read a graphic novel and only look at the words. I want them to take in all the evidence that the author has put on that page. As a national board candidate, I am daily looking at everything that I do, reflecting what worked, what didn't work, how can I make this lesson better. That lesson that I did with the conversational piece, you could do that any number of ways. You could do it as a large group discussion right from the beginning, or just group work, and I wanted to break it up. I wanted to get them interested, have them work on it by themselves before they had any feedback from myself, and then I wanted them to carry the conversation because they felt they could prove their answers. So I did it that way because it's about student learning, student questioning, and then finding the evidence that supports the answers that they've chosen to believe in. I took the lesson and I immediately shared it with the 9th grade PLC English teachers. And a couple of the English teachers have since done the lesson in their classroom, and they incorporated the special ed teachers. So you have co-teaching going on, you have collaboration between myself and the other English teachers, you have planning going on because we're talking about how I did it in my classroom versus how they might change it or do something different. And regardless of the setting, whether it was honors, special ed, our level, regardless of the level of student, there was a high success rate with reaching the accomplished goal.